Welcome to Spoken Love Podcast, where words don't just tell stories, they breathe them. Here we strip love and life down to the bone, unfolding our truths in rhythm and rhyme, through dialogue that's part poetry, part confession, and all real. So lean in, let the silence between the verses speak, and join me for a conversation wrapped in poetry. This is Spoken Love Podcast. Welcome back to Spoken Love Podcast, where we talk about love, faith, healing, and what it really takes to build something that lasts. This is Season 3, Episode 5, and today we're getting into a truth that doesn't always feel good, but it is necessary. The cost of love is sacrifice. Now, I know that's a bold statement, but we're going to unpack that here in a little bit. Before you get a little nervous, let me say this clearly. Sacrifice is not suffering. Sacrifice is not losing yourself. And sacrifice is definitely not tolerating what God never called you to endure. But real love, on the other hand, God-centered love will require something from you. Your ego, your pride, and your need to always be right. And today we're breaking down what sacrifice and love actually looks like, and also what it doesn't look like. Let me take you into a moment. If I reflect back, I remember being in a situation where I thought I was loving right? Air quotes. I was patient, I was understanding, I was always willing to talk things through. But if I'm honest, I was also overextending myself. I was the one always adjusting, always compromising, always trying to make it work. And I told myself, this is what love requires, that ride or die mentality, right? But one day, I felt this quiet check in my spirit, and not necessarily loud and dramatic, just a simple truth. It said, this isn't sacrifice. This is self-abandonment. And then it hit me because I realized I had confused being loving with losing myself. And I thought I was practicing patience, but I was actually ignoring patterns. I thought I was being supportive, but I was neglecting my own needs. And the truth is, I wasn't in a relationship where sacrifice was mutual. It was one-sided. How many of you can say that you've invested yourself emotionally into a lot of relationships that you're the one that's pouring into the relationship more than the other person is? Well, in my experience, specifically, God began to show me something. Real love will stretch you, but it shouldn't drain you. It will refine you, but it will not erase the parts of you that matter the most. That moment changed how I understood love because I realized that godly sacrifice has some boundaries. Let's bring in the word, right? Because it's always good to reflect on what does God's word say about sacrifice. In John 15, verse 13, it says, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." Now that is the highest example of love. Jesus sacrificing his life, right? But here's what we often miss. Jesus' sacrifice was intentional. It was purposeful. It was aligned with God's will. He didn't sacrifice out of insecurity. He didn't sacrifice to prove his worth. He didn't even sacrifice to hold on to something that wasn't aligned. And that matters, right? Because sometimes we sacrifice in relationships hoping it will make someone love us. Ooh. But love that has to be earned through overextending is not love rooted in God. I want to clear up a couple of misconceptions about sacrifice, because we all go through this, myself included. Misconception number 1, love means tolerating anything. Absolutely not. Love does not mean accepting disrespect, inconsistency, or even emotional harm. 1 Corinthians 13 says, love is patient and kind, not harmful and confusing. Misconception number 2, sacrifice means you come last. No, God didn't design love to be one person pouring while the other consumes. Healthy love is mutual. Misconception number 3, if it hurts, it must be love. I think I fell for this one many times. And the answer is no. Pain is not proof of purpose. Some relationships hurt because they are misaligned, not because they are meaningful. Let's compare sacrifice versus self-abandonment. Let's be clear on this. Sacrifice says, I choose to give in love. Self-abandonment says, I lose myself to keep you. Sacrifice is rooted in peace, it's given freely, it's aligned with truth, and it's supported by reciprocity. While on the other hand, self-abandonment is rooted in fear, driven by attachment, ignoring red flags, and is often one-sided. But godly love will never require you to betray yourself, because the same God who calls you to love others also calls you to honor who you are. So what does sacrifice look like in healthy love? Right? It looks like choosing patience during difficult conversations. Any relationship, any healthy relationship dynamic will require you to have some difficult conversation. And in those conversations, you're not always going to agree. But if you're patient enough to not only desire to be heard, but to listen to what your partner has to say, whether you agree or disagree, that's the game changer. Another one is letting go of pride to resolve conflict. You cannot resolve a situation if you are focused solely on being right. You have to keep an open mind and create a safe space that your partner feels comfortable enough to even express themselves to begin with. And that's how you're able to de-escalate a situation. If you feel like you're in a heated moment and there's no resolve that's going to happen, step away. Take the pride out of the situation, step away, take a break, and come back to the situation or the conversation at a later time. Showing up consistently, even when it requires effort. I think this is where a lot of people fall short. In the beginning, the dating phase, the courting phase, it's always, you overextend yourself a little bit because you want to get into that person's good graces, right? You want to show face. You want to be chosen. So you put all your effort in the first few weeks, maybe even few months, and then it starts to dwindle after that. It's better to be consistent, right, at a pace that you can maintain over a longer period of time than it is to show up with a representative and then fall short later on. Supporting your partner's growth. It's not only about you. It's a relationship. It's a dual partnership. You have to be supportive of what your partner is also striving to do. And if you're both grounded in God, a lot of the times your purposes will start to align towards common goals and common pursuits, right, that are in alignment with God's will for both of your lives. Learning to forgive, right, but not forgetting wisdom. Forgiving is important, and I think forgiveness starts within yourself. You have to be able to forgive yourself. You have to be able to heal from past wounds and let that go before you enter into a new, not only relationship, but dating experiences. If prior dating experiences have left residue on your self-worth, your perspective on people, your interactions, your communication style, if you are withdrawing, if you're guarded, you still need to heal a little bit. And maybe you take breaks in between your dating experiences just to reset and give that next person the benefit of the doubt. It's the small daily decisions to love intentionally. Not perfect, you don't have to be perfect, but purposefully, right? And most importantly, it needs to be mutual, because love that reflects God will always include balance. In closing, love will cost you something. It will cost you your ego, your comfort, your need to control everything. But it should never cost you your peace, your identity, or your relationship with God. If it does, that's not sacrifice. That's misalignment. And as you move forward, I want you to ask yourself, is the love I'm giving and receiving aligned with God's truth? Because real love doesn't just feel good. It builds, it refines, it honors. Thank you for listening to Season 3, Episode 5 of the Spoken Love Podcast. Until next time, love with wisdom, love with truth, and never forget, God's love may require sacrifice, but it will never require you to lose yourself. And just like that, another chapter closes. But the story of love and life never really ends. If these words moved you, share them, carry them, live them out loud. Follow Spoken Love Podcast wherever you listen, and meet me here again where the dialogue stays candid and the poetry stays alive.